You started recording.
Very nice. What do you got on the background there? Tennis, wrestling, and
NFL Network.
oh, all right, just getting yourself all lathered up.
Oh yeah.
All right, you ready to
Are you
roll?
doing this intro, or am I being forced to bring the noise?
I feel like it's like kind of traditional for you to
All right.
kind of kick things off for the Factory of Sadness here. So if you're up to it,
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
well, let's roll the music then.
All right, boys. Welcome back to another season of the Factory of Sadness Fantasy Football League. So, draft is complete. It went pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah.
You know, Bobby gets driving back from Canada. He still got all his picks in. So yeah. So I think we want to just take a quick look at kind of the teams, run them through the old football guys analyzer, make Smitty nice and angry, pick a couple games,
Oh yeah.
and go from there.
Real nice. Actually, on the Factory, football guys were okay with my team for once. I think I got a B plus. By far my best score.
Yep. All right. So you want to start with power rankings? How do you want to do it?
Yeah, when I was doing the power rankings, I'll tell you this, Big Cat, and like I think we can both preface this entire piece by saying that last year was an awesome year for the Factory, where our best team was 9-5 and our worst team was 5-9. Mm-hmm. So like the parity in this league is just like insane. Like usually we have at least one or two like double-digit win teams and like one or two teams that only managed to scratch out 2 or 3 wins. But like last year, it was everybody all hands on deck until really the last 2-3 weeks. And then even so, I think that last week of the season, I think 8 or 9 teams had a chance to make the playoffs. So bottom line, the league health is excellent. Your commissioners have worked countless minutes each season to try to improve the league.
But let fun go somewhere, boys.
Yeah. So bottom line, we appreciate all the hard work that you guys put into it too, because all 12 owners clearly, are competitive and have our shit together and nobody's mailing it in and, everybody's fighting to the end. And that's what we love to see. So when we're going through the rankings and stuff like that, it is truly a crap shot because, I don't know about you, Big Cat, but when I look through the rosters, I was not over the moon in love with anybody. And I didn't look at a single roster and say, well, that guy can't win. That guy can't have a chance this year. So, bottom line, this is shits and giggles. And the real rankings will shake out over the next few weeks. But, yeah, man, I'm all jacked up. I love it. Let's just go through, basically like my rankings, and we can put them up on the side here. Hopefully I can figure that technology out.
You want me to share my screen and put my list up?
Yeah, sure. Especially if you can put it over to one side, and then I'll try to paste mine onto the other side of the same frame. If there's any way to possibly do that, that would be kind of cool. But yeah, if you want to just pop yours up there, I think that'd be fine. And we can just kind of go through it. My rankings are in the order of, kind of who I think division winners are going to be and everything like that. So, yeah, there you go. You want to zoom in on that a little bit so I can take out about half the screen? All right.
All right.
So let's do this first. Let's go with our division winners. So who do you think your division winners are going to be?
So I'm going to have to go by memory. Well, I got the 3 division winners. Turd Ferguson, Big Poppy, and Grow Up were my 3 picks.
Okay. All right. So like, okay. I think Grow Up, Tony's in the top division. So my winner in that division is going to be, I actually have myself.
Nice.
Shockingly. And then for the middle division there, I also have Big Poppy as the winner. You have Poppy also, right?
Yep.
And then for the bottom, no surprise to anybody, I have Midnight Poutine coming out ahead on that bottom division. But just a little secret of the way that I kind of looked at this is I really tried to scratch and claw to find teams that I think did real well with the draft or not so well. Other than that, I basically took the guys that finished high last year and like to the college football type of thing, you know. So, you know, I looked at Big Poppy. He won last year. He's the number 2 seed for me. You know, you were in the playoffs last year. You're the number 3 seed. I was, you know, in the playoffs. I drafted 10th, you know, came in 3rd place. No big deal. No big deal. Actually, I picked 9th, you know, because I lost the 3rd place game, but no big deal. So anyway, that's the kind of the way that I approached it. But you can see on my rankings, I have 1 is myself, of course. 2, Big Poppy, the next division winner, and 3, Poutine as the next division winner. It's interesting to me. Oh, you think Dave Free is out ahead of you, and that's why you're the next wild card, huh?
Yep, exactly.
So I have you and Dave flip-flopped. I have Turd Ferguson as number 4. So, you know, I think it's a toss-up there. And my other 2 wild cards are coming from, I think the middle division is Bearded Clam. And then I don't like this man's draft at all, but he has earned the right to need to prove me wrong. It's Glenn. Glenn wins a lot. He always makes the playoffs. I can't put him out of the playoffs until he puts himself out of the playoffs. Now, if this is the year, I think he's at high risk. So that's he's my number 6.
Yep. You know, I completely agree with you on Glenn. Honestly, I had the same exact thought as I was ranking these guys, you know, extremely scientifically. Mm-hmm. But, you know, honestly, these football guy rankings, we'll send those out too. They're the ones that make Dave real mad. But you know, I'm drafting from their list, so I'm obviously going to get a good grade. But you know, these if you read the reports, they're all pretty, you know, evenly. I think all the teams are pretty darn even, honestly. Probably Bob is the worst right now, but I don't really think it's, you know, it's the beginning of the season, right? Anything can happen.
Yeah, I will say the football guys, when I read my little write-up that you sent me, and they were like, you have weakness at the wide receiver position. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. Now, you could say I have weakness at the running back position, obviously, but the wide receiver position seems to be relatively strong. But anyway, why don't you run through your 7 through 12 real quick, if you have anything to say about those guys, and I'll hit my 7 through 12, and then we can push forward from there.
Yep. So, you know, I think, again, you know, it's all pretty close, honestly. Like, I really just put Dave here just because I knew he'd pick himself. You know, but I do agree with my analysis here on Kelsey needs to show up for him to have a deep playoff run. A lot could be said for basically every single team.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's star player needs to show up for them to make it to the finish line. So, you know, I agree though. I mean, I got doo-doo behind him. I got fucking Mo Alley Cox.
So, and kind of the same thing with Glenn. That was kind of my tiebreaker. We're not going to go through specific positions, but you know, if Henry doesn't show up like he did last year at the beginning of the season, I think the teams are so close that Glenn's going to fall off. So that's the only difference between, you know, 8 and 9 and, you know, 3, 4, 5. It's so very close.
Yeah, it's a razor's edge, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12 through 6, you know, I had Butthole, Surfers, and the Bearded Clam. And, you know, I think that's just because they probably had some of the weakest keepers going into it. So their drafts were okay, but I think overall they had the most holes to fill right now.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, Floppy D, like I had to put someone there at 10. I wouldn't be surprised if he's, drafting third next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he made the playoffs, you know. And Chuggers, I think, is right on the line. I think his wide receiver and tight end rooms aren't as strong as some of the people I put above him. So that was kind of the tiebreaker for me at that point.
Yeah. My I love that big cat. My 7 through 12 is, my bubble guy is my brother Derelict, who you got in the playoffs. So, Panda, I have on the bubble. You have him on the other side of the bubble. I have him at 8. You have him at 6. And then my 9, 10, 11, 12 goes Chuggers, Grow Up, Floppy D, and then Bobby G at the bottom there, Butthole Surfers. But again, I do believe that, I think any of these teams could make the playoffs. And I think a lot of teams are operating on a razor's edge too. We're all, as we all know, just one key injury away from being in a really tough spot. So, it'll definitely be interesting. And I expect it to be just like last year. I'll be surprised. Not surprised, but I think it's less likely that we'll have a runaway team that wins 11 or 12 games, just as much as I think it's unlikely that we'll have a team that will only get 3 or 4 games. So, it'll probably be similar. We'll probably be scrapping it out right till the end of November, and we'll see what happens. So, there you go. Pretty good parity. So let's push it on to the week 1 matchups. We got matchups in the gate here. Not everybody set their lineups, but Big Cat and I have spent a little bit of time going through them, and we're just going to go with a quick fire here. I'm going to call out the game, and then we'll each say a thing or two about the matchup and what we think is going to happen, and we'll go from there. So let's go in the order. Let's go in the order that I sent them over to you. So game 1 that I had on my list was Kelce's Nuts versus Chuggers. This is Regan's first game here in the new league. And tell me, Big Cat.
These guys at least got a initial lineup in, and the projection is within 1 point. That's pretty crazy. Just off the top of my head, looking at everyone, I would probably give the slight edge to Chuggers this week. I really like Rashard Penny as kind of the tiebreaker, but I agree it's going to be this close.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously I'm on the other side of things. I just think that, I like Penny, but he is a good running back on a bad team. And, Isaiah McKenzie, is not hard to get too excited about, and Mooney is a pretty weak start. I get it. I'm starting Miles Sanders, so I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a close game. I feel like I come out on top. I'm sure Regan feels like he's going to be out on top, so it should be a close one to start things off. So there we go. All right, next game: Grow Up versus Floppy D. These guys set lineups too. So, Big Cat, why don't you tell me what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I had Grow Up as at least a wild card, if not a division winner. His team is strong. The DJ Chark is, maybe borderline. I don't know if he's going to score 14 points. I would like Michael Thomas more than him this week.
Yeah.
But it's pretty solid top to bottom. I'm going to go Grow Up on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Grow Up. I think it's going to be closer than you think, but I think what separates Tony's team is Cooper Kupp, the running back advantage that he has, and then his Kansas City connection of Mahomes and Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be good. But I mean, we all know that the projections on this site are notoriously horseshit. But
yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm with Grow Up here. So we're consensus on you, Tony. Don't let us down. Don't fuck me over here. Next up, we have Bobby G's Butthole Surfers versus Andrew's Bearded Clam. Do we have lineups set here?
No.
I don't think so. So we're just going off the raw dogging it, Big Cat. Hit me.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at their rosters today, so I kind of know what they're working with.
Mhm.
I would give the slight edge to Bearded Clam in this one. I think Butthole Surfer's team is younger and probably will perform better later in the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on Bearded Clam on this one too. I have Bearded Clam ranked number 5 in my rankings, and Butthole Surfers ranked 12. I think it should be closer than a 5-12 matchup should be in most leagues, but I do have Bearded Clam coming out on top. He could potentially start 5 starting running backs. I mean, that's something pretty cool. So anyway, all right. So consensus there. We are both on the Bearded Clam. Next up, we are coming on to the Mike Smith's Derelicts My Balls versus Dave Freeze Turd Ferguson. We have lineup set. Big Cat, hit me.
Yep. This is a great matchup, honestly. I think I think my kids picked a bad division for Daddy because I think we have the toughest division by far. I'm going to stick with tradition and take Turd Ferguson in this matchup. But it's going to be close. I would give the edge here to Dave because of the defense.
Yeah, I am with you with Turd Ferguson for other reasons. I think that the Jonathan Taylor versus Houston, like last year, I think he was 30 points in both games against Houston. So that's huge. And then that wide receiver group that Dave starts versus Mike's wide receiver is going to be the difference. Mike starts great running backs and great top end, with Devontae Adams. I just think Dave's wide receiver depth is what's going to allow him to stretch it out. So we are both on Turd Ferguson here also. All right, so we have our JV game of the week here. Right, we have the libtard Glenn Schillinger taking on co-commissioner, the Big Cat, with Midnight Poutine. So this is one of 2 matchups of 2021 playoff teams here in week 1. Big Cat, talk to me.
Do a live lineup submission.
Oh, a live lineup. Oh, my God. I love it. So he's going with Josh Allen, James Conner, Chase Edmonds, Joe Mixon, Jefferson, DJ Moore, and Amon-Ra. He's going to throw Njoku out there. And then pretty simple starts here on defense. So he's going double safeties. You got to put a linebacker in there. And Shaq. So he's gonna see what Nick Bolton's all about out there.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a strong. Yeah, we'll find out in a sec. I do the same
Both
thing.
Players, I think we're good.
It's a strong to quite strong lineup right there, and I am into it. So since you set your lineup, but I already know what's going on here, I am going with Midnight Poutine on this. I promised I wouldn't bash Glenn too much, but I feel like Glenn had a unusually weird draft, and like he picked Joe Burrow at number 11, right? And I was surprised about that given the position players that were also available at that time. And like I was looking at his lineup today, and like basically like that pick materialized as a head scratcher right now. Joe Burrow in 2 games last year versus the Steelers scored 20 points a game. Well, he had 21 and a half and 19 and a half, basically averaged 20 points a game. He picked Kirk Cousins 12 rounds later in the 13th round. In Cousins' 1 game versus the Packer, because he missed the other one because he had COVID, fucking 32 points, 31.64 points, 341 yards and 3 touchdowns. So like your first round pick, it's not unreasonable to scratch your head and say, gee, do I go Cousins here? It's not unreasonable. Now, I think he made the right choice by starting Burrow, but like for me, that's why I'm looking at Burrow and saying like, ugh, like the fact that you even have to think, the fact that it's a reasonable thing to say, like, hey, maybe Cousins versus the Packers with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and a new Irv Smith and KJ Osborne and Dalvin Cook healthy, like maybe he's a pretty good start versus Joe Burrow and the Steelers with a game total of 42 points where, like if that game is 17-13, like nobody's going to be that surprised.
Yep.
No, Burrow could go do 330-3 too. I get that. But, anyway, I love you, Glenn. I just don't get it.
I promised I wouldn't bash Glenn too much, but let me go off on a 5-minute diatribe on why he sucks so bad.
It was an un-Glenn-like move, and you have to give me that. To go Burrow at 111, I could have guessed. You could have tried to sell me a lot of things, and that probably would have been a lot better.
I would never ever take a quarterback high, but I've never had Josh Allen, and he was there, and I don't think it was unreasonable where I took him. The player I wanted to pick before me, so I basically said F it. But yeah, I don't. If you don't get Allen or Mahomes, I think that's it. Those two. Then I would wait on quarterback just as a general strategy.
Yeah, and look, could I be wrong? Certainly, obviously. But hey, look, if Cincinnati really takes that next step with a better offensive line, they're going to get out to a lead and they're going to run the ball. I don't know. I just feel like Burrow is still riding that high of like a really productive final few weeks of the season. So, but we'll see. Maybe, Glenn has never let us down before. So,
yep, no, that's very true.
Anyway, I think you're going to
What's the last game?
Poppy, defending champion Poppy versus Joey Wonton Panda. Again, this is our defending champ versus the guy that finished third in the league last year. And Big Cat, why don't you hit us with this one?
I'm going to go Pandemonium in a stunning upset. I'm not a Christian McCaffrey guy. I just don't know how he can come back and be the same guy that he was after being injured for 2 years, basically. And the reason why he was injured for 2 years is because he didn't come off the field for 2 or 3 years before that. So, but look, they both have solid squads. I love a lot of Joe Yee's draft picks, honestly. He got Zeke in a great spot. He got Hunt in a great spot. He got Andrews in a good spot. So I like his matchups this week. I think he might pull it off.
Yeah, I like Joe too. I agree with the site here where it's going to be a good game and it's going to be close. I'm actually on Poppy here. Yeah. Defending champ, he's our Alabama this year. So Danny's up there until he proves that he shouldn't be. Look, I get it with McCaffrey, but I think he scored 30 something points in week 1 last year. And then Jamar Chase, So anyway, we'll go opposites on this, but I like Poppy, but I think it's going to be close. And again, I won't be surprised at whoever wins whatever game this week, but it's excited to be talking fantasy with you, Big Cat.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Bills tomorrow or tonight by the time people watch this. So you go ahead and take Buffalo. I don't even know what the line is, but they're definitely winning.
Bills 2.5.
They're minus 2.5 on the road.
Yeah. Road favorites. No big deal. Defending Super Bowl champions or home dogs to open the season. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
I would.
The Bills are out for blood this year. They're gonna fuck some shit up tomorrow night.
Big Cat suddenly.
After that, I don't know, but tomorrow.
Suddenly, a Sean McDermott stand here.
I don't like him.
But tomorrow night,
boys. Good luck this week. We'll see you next week, I'm sure.
All right. Love you.